Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Hodges Funeral Home and the family, I want to thank you all for coming today to pay your respects. I know it's important to them, and I hope it's important to you. This time I'll give you the opportunity to shut your phones down if you haven't done that already. And introduce you to today's first speaker, Don.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy day to come and share in the celebration of Mom's life. In 2007, I stood here in this very room and gave a eulogy for my beloved mother-in-law, Bernie Sapp. At the conclusion of the service, I walked my mom to the car. As we were walking, she told me, she said, "You did a wonderful job." She said, "I'm proud of you." And in the same breath, she said, "I hope you say nice things about me when I die." So she set the bar. Well, Mom, I'm going to give it a shot. In the days since Mom's passing, I've learned a lot about Marcella Fewell. Anyone knowing our mother knew she was very organized. Vicky got that gene, I did not. And Mom always had a plan. Whether it was an event scheduled for the day, a trip somewhere, everything was planned out, and she kept records of it. She was also very competitive. Ask anyone who ever played cards with her. They'll tell you. Mom always looked for the positive in any situation, and she always gave people the benefit of the doubt. That trait made me crazy. She was a trusting soul. That being said, the following information was provided to me via her Things I Want My Children to Know memo. Marcella Corson Steingruber was born February 9, 1927, in an apartment located over Range Drugstore in Aurora, Indiana. I did not know that. Her parents were Otto and Gertrude Steingruber. She learned to crawl on August 20th, 1927. She actually knew that. She had 5 teeth when she was 11 months old. She started walking on her own accord on January 14th, 1928. And she had chicken pox on January 1st, 1929, followed by pneumonia on her birthday on February 9th, 1929. Have I mentioned she documented everything? She almost died from pneumonia. She said that she kept getting worse, and finally her doctor suggested giving her a little whiskey. This is the only known reference to her mom consuming alcohol, and she said it saved her life. Well, I found out something just the other night. I'm not going to say who said it to me, but apparently somebody spiked Grandma's hot chocolate, so she had 2 alcoholic beverages in her life that we know about. In 1940, Mom accepted Jesus Christ as her personal Savior, and her faith would carry her throughout the remainder of her life. Mom had to deal with tragedy at an early age. Her sister Marjorie passed away on June 11th, 1940, shortly after Mom's grandfather had passed away. And Mom said the loss of her grandfather and her sister was devastating to her mother. So at age 13, my mom had to plan her sister's funeral. Mom began working as a waitress when she was 13 years old. Didn't know that. Said she made 10 cents an hour plus tips. She saved her money, because she was a saver. Saved her money and she bought a vanity and twin bedroom set for $25. Ronnie and I slept on those beds as children. So, and when the storm came, we had throws out. I didn't realize the history, but that's where they came from. From 1940 to 1942, Mom attended 3 different schools. In April of 42, while living in Pryor, Oklahoma, a tornado hit the town. Mom said much of the town was destroyed, and her school was included in the destruction. 52 people lost their lives that day, and a lot of them were Mom's good friends. She was a very smart person. She won several math competitions, was an honor society student, and took first place in the bookkeeping contest at Central Norman College in Oklahoma. She graduated at Cross Plains High School in 1945 at the head of her class. After graduating high school, Mom began working at Jefferson Proving Ground in Indiana. And on October 24th, 1945, she started a job at Pearl Packing Company in Madison. That's where she worked for until she retired in 1976. She went from being a bookkeeper to actually being a director of the company when she retired when the plant closed in December of 76. And while working at Pearl, she met Dale Fewell, and the rest was history. They were married on May 15th, 1948, and shared a wonderful life together. Dad joined the Air Force in 51. When he was discharged in 55, they purchased a St. Clair service station in Madison, Indiana. What I believe to be the most blessed event in her life was when Ronnie and I came along March 13th. 3 years later, on August 14th, 1961, we had this bundle of joy we named Vicki Lynn joined our family. In November of 66, Mom and Dad bought a motel that was just adjacent to our service station, the Inglewood Motel. So now Mom worked all day at Pearl Packing, covered the night desk at the motel, did all the bookkeeping for both businesses, and maintained our house at 2130 Williams Avenue. Did I mention she was an organized person? In May of 71, Dad made a decision, Mom, to move down to Fort Myers. So they sold the family businesses in Indiana. They came down, they operated a fuel service station at the corner of 31 and 80 from 71 until 79, then moved to the Union 76 on Palm Beach. They closed that out in September of 1983. In October of 1982, Ronnie and Teresa blessed Mom and Dad with their granddaughter, Samantha Fewell. They were so proud of her. What a joyous occasion. But after the wonderful 82, we had a bad year in 1983. In February of 83, I was diagnosed with cancer. Mom stepped up to the plate, took care of me through 2 cancer surgeries and a year of chemotherapy. The following month, on the evening of March 16, 1983, shots rang out on Fairfax Avenue in East Fort Myers. Lee County Sheriff Corporal Ronnie Fewell responded to the call, and while exiting his patrol car, he was shot and mortally wounded. We were notified that Ronnie was on the way to the hospital. We immediately responded to the Lee Memorial. Just prior to our arrival, Mom said God gave her a peace, letting her know that Ronnie was no longer needed. He no longer needed her help. We went into the emergency room. It was chaotic. Mom turned her attention to me. She requested a doctor to care for me. I was now the focus of her attention, knowing there was nothing she could do for Ronnie. That's what Mom did. She took control of any situation that she faced. Years later, in 2000, we lost my dad. And for the last 23 years, Mom lived alone at 2194 Santiago Avenue. She loved that place. Well, on September 28th of last year, her life changed forever, as did for a lot of people living in Southwest Florida. Storm surge from Hurricane Ian brought 15 inches of water into her home of 50 years. The following day, we took Mom to survey the damage to her home. As she made her way through the home, I could see the pain on her face, but she didn't say a word. When we got her the car to leave, she looked at the home of over 50 years and simply said, "Goodbye, 2194 Santiago," knowing she would never spend another night there. That was the beginning of the end. Later that evening, a euchre game broke out at my house. There was a table, there were cards, and there were people, so it was bound to happen. And at the conclusion of the game, Mom suddenly burst into tears. The realization that she just lost her home momentarily consumed her. That was the first time in almost 65 years I'd ever saw my mom cry. It was heartbreaking. Over the next several days, Vicki, Angie, Philip, and I, we worked to clean her home and salvage what items we could. And I remember talking to Mom a couple days later about our progress on the house. And she looked at me, she said, "Well, maybe Hurricane Ian was God's way of telling her it was time to downsize." She said it was a blessing because now our kids wouldn't have to worry about what to do with all of her stuff when she died. Remember I said earlier, she always looked for the positive in everything. After the storm, Vicki graciously offered to take Mom back to Indiana to live with her. And on October the 4th, I watched Mom leave my home with just 2 suitcases full of her belongings. It was heartbreaking, but Mom remained strong. Her faith carried her through this devastating event. Now, for the last couple of minutes, I'll give you a brief overview of the life of Marcella S. Fewell. She was a wonderful mother, grandmother, sister, wife, and daughter. But how has her passing affected our lives? Well, her friends and family will tell you they're going to miss those marathon euchre and skip rope games. You know, the games that began with best 3 out of 5 if she was winning, and then went best 5 out of 7 if she wasn't winning. We'll miss her scheduling skills for our lives. Everyone knows Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. was card playing time, and every Friday at 2 p.m. was puzzle assembly time. So I will certainly miss her uncanny ability to organize my travel plans better than the Garmin GPS. She could always tell me, what the best route was, when I should be at various locations along the route, and the exact time I should arrive at my destination. That all planned out. I predict the U.S. Postal Service will have to cut their workforce by 10% because of the amount of junk mail they no longer have to deliver to mom. Stock in Hershey Chocolate Company will plunge due to the decreased demand for Hershey Kisses as a result of mom's death. Marie Calendar is going to go out of business because they just lost their market for TV dinners. eBay will suffer a loss of revenue. That's where I routinely purchased passenger side mirrors for a 2002 Buick Park Avenue. I must say I got pretty good at replacing those mirrors. And mom did tell me, she said it should be illegal to have your mailbox door open. She didn't think she should be held responsible for hitting a mailbox door that should have been opened in the first place. Shell Oil Company is going to lose money because I will no longer be driving to 4 different Dollar General stores on a weekly basis in an attempt to find 4 loaves of generic wheat bread for $1.25 a loaf. I usually just drive to the Dollar General Marketplace in LaBelle because they always have the bread in stock. On a positive note, after spending $10 on gas, I was able to save mom about $2 on the bread. Winn-Dixie will lose their revenue because I will be purchasing 5 dozen jumbo eggs every time I walk through the doors. I also have saved time shopping since I no longer need to check each egg to make sure the shell's not cracked. Ratings for the Hallmark Channel will take a hit. Nobody reported more Christmas movies than mom. And if you ever spend any time at mom's house, you are going to watch a Hallmark movie. But just as a movie has a beginning and end, mom's life had a beginning and end also. On Saturday, February 11th, 2023, mom left this world for a journey, a heavenly journey. When I found her lifeless body that morning, for a moment, my heart sank. Mom was gone. But then I realized where she went. She had a reunion to attend. Reunion with Ronnie, Dad, and a host of other family members and friends who had also made that same heavenly journey. As we reflect on the life of Marcella S. Fewell today, we need to cherish each memory that we have with her. Don't be sad that she's gone. Be happy for where her final journey took her. She will be forever in our heart. Mom, I will make you proud. John.